was thinking about this the other night. Last night? I think last night. Like, it's the coolest thing ever, bro. But I was thinking about this. Yeah? Yeah. Just slightly. It is nice just being able to, like, clock in and clock out type of thing and have the income come in. And that's where I'm... Don't get me wrong, I still do, and I am going to make more money than I know what to do with. Like, I already know that to be true. I think that I had just jumped the gun a little bit on this last one. It was okay, it wasn't me jumping the gun. That wasn't the case at all. Yeah, we got snow up in the mountains now. On October 19th, 2024. It seems later, which it is. But yeah, dude, I didn't know this beforehand before I left. I was upset. I was letting my emotions, get the better of me. Which is nothing wrong with that. I just had this understanding, this belief that I had to work very, very hard to earn a lot of money, and then I also had to be selling my soul, but I also don't. It's a weird dynamic. Because it really is just the feeling. And that's where I'm like, I'm incredibly powerful. I know that to be true. And maybe that's the reason why I had such a hard time saying manifest last night, because the people, they didn't need to hear that word at that point in time. It's an interesting dynamic. It's a very interesting dynamic. Wonderful. 4-pause doctor? I don't know. But yeah, and maybe I just don't, like, I have the expertise, I have the knowledge, I just have to share it with the people. Maybe I have been too focused on the outcome of this said act, where, like, when I was doing the sales stuff, like, sure, don't get me wrong, like, I was focused on, like, getting the belt, when I did get the belt, or, like, winning the prize of the car, when I won the prize of the car, and then getting promoted within, like, I know that this is the trippy part for me, dude. This is the trippy part for me. Because to me, I see these things happen, and I'm just like, they happen because I needed them to happen. Because they were the thing that I needed to have happen to show me the thing that I needed to see. And I'll be less vague on that. So basically, when I started out at the sales job, or the career that I was doing, that I am, like, still actively pursuing as well, I was told, I was like, yeah, has anybody else come in and, like, demolish, like, sped up, like, perform this way in the ways that I have? And they're like, yeah, this one girl, like, she kind of did a similar thing. I was going to drop her name, but I don't need to drop her name. She kind of did a similar thing, but then she was in the next position, like the second tier up after I got the promotion. She was there for months because we didn't have the amount of leads. And I was like, interesting. But they're like, yeah, she got promoted from, like, the tier 3 to the tier 2 position a lot quicker than, like, you had it. And I was like, it was, like, within 4 months or something like that. I don't know the exact time frame. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, let me do that for tier 2, because that rolls even harder. So that I did that within 3.5 months, dude, I got promoted to the next tier. And someone, like, they could always be like, yeah, the business was just trying to grow, and they can give all these other justifications as to why I was able to get into that position in the first place. When I look at it, and I'm just like, well, is that actually true? Like, is that, like, yes, it very well could be, or you could take a different approach, which I like to take. Like, I created that reality for me to experience in those ways, and that's why, like, when I'm here right now and what I am experiencing, what I have been experiencing, I have done it because it was the thing that I needed to do to be able to be in the place that I'm at right now. So I was having a conversation with a friend last night, and she was like, yeah, she's a therapist or a counselor, I think a therapist, but she's one of those people which I'll text him too in a second, see how things are going with him, just to like give a little update. I'm working on maintaining and building relationships more and being the person that actually reaches out, which is great for me because like I talk to a lot of people, and if people don't like it, whatever, so be it. Like, you can't control that type of thing. But I was talking with her, and she was talking to me about how I need to get the sprinklers blown out. Not that, it's a different thing. She was telling me about how, it'll come back to me here in a second. She's a counselor and she was helping out, and she and we were chatting about how there's good therapists and there's bad therapists. See, I told you, it always comes back. How there's good and bad therapists, or there's good and bad coaches. And dude, I love those Porsches, bro. I need to change up something that I'm doing to be able to have that, because I guess there was also that belief too that like if I have these nice things, then like the clients don't want those things. Like they'd be like jealous of me having that, because there was a coach or an interview that I ended up doing a while back where one of the guys told me, he's like, yeah, I went to this business, and he's like, if I ever see you driving up in one of these Mercedes cars, like I would never work with you. But that was one of the business that like depends on the demographic that you're in, because then the dude's over here buying like a $650,000 house with like cash basically, which is a really nice house too. Besides the point, actually still kind of tied into the point, because that's a belief that I've been trying to work on and figure out like where's the route to figuring out like what is stopping me or preventing me from charging premium prices. It's really just me. It's always been me. But we were talking about counselors and therapists, about how a lot of them, they don't do the self work to be in the place that they need to be. They don't do any of that self-inquiry work, which that's what I did this whole last year. Was I did a lot of self-inquiry work. I literally took off time. Like I took off time from work, from generating an income, from any sort of work that was an external aspect, and I entirely focused on my internal world, my internal self, my internal needs, which is very impactful for me, and it was the thing that I needed to do. And from my understanding, a lot of therapists, a lot of coaches might not necessarily do that work themselves, which then leads to you not getting the results that you want. Because I'm one of the, I personally, this is just a me thing, I would not hire a personal trainer that does not look the way that I want them to look. I would rather hire a personal trainer or somebody that is living the lifestyle that I want to live. Some people, obviously, they look for credentials, they look for certifications, they look for all these other types of, I was going to say certifications again. They look for all these types of proof, basically, on paper, that they know what they're talking about, where I'm more under the impression I'd rather work with somebody that's living what they are preaching, living what they are sharing, living what they are creating, because that's a much more, like, to me, they understand my problems, they understand my needs, they understand what works and what doesn't work, more than somebody that just read it from a book. And I'm not saying that books are bad. I've read my fair share of books, and I still read. I guess I listen to books more now, but like I also have the conversations and communicate with the people in the ways that I need to. And having the balance between all of that is essential for me now than it ever was up until this point. I didn't understand it as much as I do now, which is why I take my work very serious, while also at the same time making it malleable and playable, because a lot of us do need different approaches, and it's why I approach each and individual person, conversation, interaction that I have in the way that it needs to be approached. Because some people, as I was talking about last night, need more of a subtle touch. Some people need more of a harsh touch. It's like I have to tailor what I do to the individual person. Some people need more questions, some people need more statements. It just kind of depends on where it feels like the conversations need to go, and then I can't control the outcome on what the person does with the information that I do provide to them. So it's an experience to say what needs to be said. And that's where I just think, and I know this to be true because I have all these other experiences and have had all these other experiences that have proven to me otherwise, that this is an actual fact. And yes, you could also be like, but is that not a cognitive bias for you seeing those things? And it's just like, you could have just been aware of that said thing that you're wanting to be aware of, and it's just like, yeah, that is true, Well, also at the same time, like, there's been some trippy things that happen. Like, I can just be sitting on top of a mountain and be like, yeah, this is the one chip that I end up saying, and then I lift up my leg and there's those chips under my leg. Like, it's just, it can't be explained, and that's where I'm just like, well, if I can do that with, like, items, and those items do technically cost monetary means, I can't stop somebody from giving me money. As much as I've been trying to, it's just like, no, let me just do and share the things that I need to do and share, and help the people get the results that they themselves are wanting, because everybody wants different results from the said interaction that is happening, because no two people are going to be wanting the same outcome. Like, yes, some people may have similar ideas and perspectives on what they are hoping to have happen, yet they aren't necessarily needing to have the exact same thing happen. Which is why I like more of a tailored approach and do more one-on-one stuff, which can be linked down below. You can sign up, because I like those types of things. And yeah, I guess it's just, some people do work on themselves, some people don't work on themselves, and that's a realization that I've had to come to over the years. Because even last night, like, she's like, yeah, you seem different from the last time I met you. I'm like, yeah, been doing a lot of work, like a lot of internal work. Hardest thing I've ever done, yet also the most gratifying thing I've ever done, is I've always been under the impression I like doing things that most people won't do, like getting good at public speaking or doing legs at the gym, because everybody's like, oh yeah, I skip legs. I'm like, legs is the one thing that I go like the hardest on, because that's what everybody else wasn't doing the hardest. So I seem to do that to have a new understanding of what I didn't originally have. But yeah, it was really nice to hear that. Like, I don't do it for the recognition. I do it because it's the thing that I want to do. It still is nice being able to receive that recognition. T76, T69. So, I'm doing a lot more than I have done beforehand. Like, a lot more. Updating things, and like I said, I just want it to be automated, bro. Like, I just want it to be like a machine that just runs on autopilot. It's like me building Legos, me building an infrastructure, whatever it may be. It's me building. Oh, you guys are good. If you want to keep going, you can keep going. I don't care. Thanks, mate. It's in a row. See mi familia. I wonder. Oh, that's a good song. BVH. Is Berna home, or is she at the gym? Looks like she went to the gym. Is anybody home? I don't know. I might be here by myself.